Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. Before I start to explain anything, you already know what to do. Go down below, hit the subscribe button, blah, 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 blah. All right. Anyway, so we're getting into this video. Now, I was not going to put this on my YouTube, but being so that it is Friday, and also I got an overwhelming amount of responses and likes to this look, I decided to put the extended version on YouTube just in case anyone cared enough to actually look at the steps. So the first thing that I'm doing here is plastering, more so gluing, my eyebrows to my face. Because for this look, Jessica Rabbit is a very exaggerated, sexy character. So everything on her is exaggerated. So I had to cover up my eyebrows for this process because I had to draw the eyebrows above. You'll see later in the video, but this is the first step. The first step was gluing my eyebrows to my head and then covering it up with a layer of powder. And I had to be careful not to apply too much powder because I didn't want it to be clumpy or anything under my foundation and concealer when I did apply that. So I just put a thin layer of powder, and the powder that I'm using today is actually the Airspun powder. Normally, I actually stopped using this powder a while ago because it's so fragrant and sometimes it would irritate my skin, but I figured that it's actually a great powder to use to help, would it be calling diffusing? Like diffusing my eyebrows? No, covering up. Yeah, to help camouflage and cover my brows since I don't use that powder much. This next step that I'm doing probably should have been executed differently, but I did it anyway. So I'm using my Beauty Bay Bright Mattes palette, and the idea here was to use a red shade to conceal the darkness of my brows, but it didn't quite work. Like, it kind of worked but didn't. So yeah, so I'm using the shade Hot Stuff from this palette, which is a bright red shade, and in a perfect world I would have just used a color corrector from like LA Girl or something, but I didn't have the red corrector. I only had the green corrector, which covers up redness, and the red or reddish color is supposed to cover up darkness. But I didn't have that, so I tried to improvise. It didn't quite work. Like, it kind of did, but not really. But anyway, this is what I'm doing here. I know for next time that I will not be doing this. So yeah. Now I'm going in with my concealer from LA Girl, and this is in the shade Fawn. This is the concealer that I normally use to conceal my brows or really anything on my face. So I'm using that to cover up everything that I did to try and match my skin tone. So I'm not gonna lie, it does look good. Like, it doesn't look bad, but it could be better. So I took, because my brow started to peek out through the concealer. So because the concealer, the LA Girl concealer consistency is pretty watery. So what I did was I actually took the concealer from my Too Faced concealer pot, because that concealer is very thick and it's almost like a paste. So it helped to stick the brow hairs down even more, because for whatever reason, I guess the glue wasn't enough. So I took concealer from that concealer pot to kind of help with the smoothness of the look and try to really, really like conceal the brows. And then I went over it again with some more foundation. Now I'm just priming my lids with my P. Louise. You already know, if you've been watching my videos, that's the eyeshadow primer that I've been stuck heavy on lately. So I'm using my P. Louise eyeshadow base in the shade Rumor Number 0.5, which is the lightest shade in the set that I have. And that's because, well, obviously I'm doing colors. So my rule, whenever I work with colors, I like to work with a light, near white eyeshadow base. All right, and now that I look like a complete hairless lunatic, we shall get into the eyeshadow. Well, step number one in this process is to carve out an entire new eyelid, basically. So Jessica Rabbit has very exaggerated eyelids. They're very arched, they're very high. So I had to create that shape, and I did that using the Morphe pointed liner brush, and I used the shade Preppy Pecan from the Bright Matte palette. And I started following the inner crease of my eye, and then I just extended it all the way up onto my brow. And now I'm taking a shader brush, and I'm using the shade Illicit to help diffuse the harsh lines from the lid space that I created, and also to help darken around the perimeter of the shape. And now I'm using a mix of the two shades Grape Escape and Drama Queen, which are both deep plum purples, and I'm using that to soften up the black and kind of create not necessarily ombre, well, kind of ombre, but more so to a gradient. That's what I'm looking for, to create a gradient effect for the eyeshadow. The next two shades that I'm using are Purple Power and Live In for Lavender. So I'm putting Live In for Lavender right in the center of the eyeshadow, and then on the sides, like to kind of like transition. So to transition from the plum purple, I'm using Purple Power, and to transition from Purple Power, I'm using Live In for Lavender, which is basically the star of the show. That is the main color that you see in the center of my lid. All right, so now both eyes are done. Now I'm going and adding concealer and foundation to my forehead because this is a different type of look. So I have to kind of go about it differently. So normally, obviously, I would do my whole face after doing this, but I had to improvise. So I am adding concealer from the Too Faced Sweet Peach Concealer Pot in the shade Peanut Butter. And then I'm also using the Makeup Revolution Like Skin Foundation, and I'm just blending that out all over my forehead. Now I am creating the eyebrows. So I didn't have a red eyebrow pencil, which was kind of annoying because I had to use the lip liner, and this is from LA Girl, and this is in the shade Wine. So I had to use this lip liner pencil, which was a bit frustrating because lip liner pencils tend to be way softer than eyebrow pencils. So because it's going on your lips, so obviously it melts more, it's more prone to smudging. So I had to be very careful. I'm creating her super arched eyebrows. That's why, now you see that's why I had to cover up my brows, because I had to basically create a face on top of my face. So I had to extend the brows. I had to really create that dramatic arch. And yeah, that's what I'm doing here. And there's a lot of this video that is cut out because I had to constantly touch up the eyebrows because it kept getting smeared and it kept like smudging, and it was just it was a mess. But it actually turned out to be really nice. The one thing that I will say, whenever I do this look again, I will go darker. So I would get I'd get an eyebrow pencil and I'd use that. And I would go a little bit darker on the brows because I feel like with the bold purple and black, it kind of muted out the red brow just a little bit. So that's the one thing that I would say that I would definitely do differently. Now, to create more of that shine that she has going on like the inner part of her eyelid, I actually took the shimmery blue shadow from the Zulu palette by Juvia's Place. I don't know what it's called because I don't think they actually named their eyeshadows, but it is from the Zulu palette, and it is like that shimmery blue shade. And I'm adding the majority of it to the inner part of my eyelid, and then I'm just kind of spreading it out on the brush, not picking up any excess product, just kind of spreading it out over it. Now, just to add a little bit of detail, Jessica Rabbit does have these eyelashes that kind of like flare out on the sides of her lids. So I'm using the SUVA Beauty Hydroliner in the shade Grease, and I'm using their 610 liner brush to kind of create like a fake little lash not a wing liner, but like I'm going over my eyes with the liner on the lower part of my lash line, but then I'm just kind of wisping it out, you know, to create like a fake little lash on the side of the eyelid. So now for foundation, I'm using the NYX Total Control Drop Foundation. I love this foundation so much because it really gives me control over like what kind of shade that I need, whether I need it to be more brown, more white, more light, whatever. And so because this is like a cartoonish character, I really wanted to kind of add more of like an airbrushed kind of like hue over my face. And so that is why I'm actually adding the cream foundation drops to my skin, because it was weird because in person and probably on camera it kind of came up looking a little bit gray, like I had a film over it, but that was kind of the point. Like I wanted to have like a film over my face, and then when I took the pictures and all that, it would just kind of create like more of an airbrushed finish. This is a cartoon character, so I need to get into character. Now obviously Jessica Rabbit is white, so she's a very fair skinned character, and while I'm not going to paint my face white, I am going to still create that like kind of cartoonish skin, if you get what I'm saying. Now with my concealer, I'm making sure to really bring that concealer up over my cheekbones because I wanted to create a longer appearance in my face, like a more angled appearance, and I wanted to really highlight that cheekbone because, well, once again, everything on Jessica Rabbit is super exaggerated. So I'm using the makeup to do the same thing. So to enhance that angular shape even more, I'm taking my bronzing powder, and this is from Item Beauty. This is their matte bronzer, and I'm taking a contour brush and I'm using that to create more angles in my face. So I know I'm doing a bad job at showing you guys here, but I was trying to be really focused on this part. But here I'm contouring my nose, and I'm doing that using the concealer pot from Too Faced as well as the bronzer, and I'm just using that to create a point on my nose, and then I'm going to highlight it to enhance it even more. Now I will say the reason why I think I was so nervous to do this look is because there's so many renditions of Jessica Rabbit, and trying to find a picture to stick to was just like, oh my gosh, like in one picture her nose was pointy, in one picture her face was super round, in one picture her eyes were like purple, and then one was like nude, and I was just like, oh my gosh. So I just tried to create the best Jessica Rabbit that I could create and kind of really make it my own. Plus the fact that I didn't have the red shirt or the red dress, I didn't have the red wig, so in the end I kind of just made, you know, I created, yes, the Jessica Rabbit character, but I named her Jessica Black because, well, one, I am black, but also the hair. So I did a black wig, you know, I did the black little bosom bust thing in my pictures. So yeah, so you know, just kind of had a little bit of fun, added a little bit of twist, but I definitely want to recreate this look again, doing like everything, like the whole shebang, the sequins dress, the red hair, the gloves, if I could find them, because as a child I always loved this character. I mean, she was super sexy and attractive, and you know, she got all the guys, all the boys' attention. So I guess that's exciting to a little girl or a young girl at a certain point. So I always loved Jessica Rabbit. So I was like, yes, I have to do this, and I have to do it right. So, you know, I believe that the outcome was good. I personally feel like I could have done better. But, you know, we are our worst critics. We are our own worst critics. And I have to say that to myself all the time, because there will be some times when I'm like, yeah, I don't really like this. And then it turns out to actually not be too bad at all. So obviously, you know, like I said, I'm doing this video because I got an overwhelming amount of responses. Like I got over 700 likes on one picture. I got over 600 likes on another picture. And you know, I got like 300 views on the short little mini video that I posted. So I definitely wasn't expecting that type of outcome or, you know, that amount of feedback for the look. But you know, it was a very pleasant surprise. So yeah. All right, guys, here I'm just fixing up my wig real quick, trying to melt this cheap ass lace into my head, trying to blend it in with some foundation. But it kind of worked, but not really. But it did the job for the costume. So yeah, I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. I appreciate all of the feedback, all of the comments, all of the support from this look. It really means a lot. If you are not a part of my tribe, subscribe to my channel. Please do not forget to go down below and hit the subscribe button. You can visit me on my Instagram page. You can visit me on my Snapchat. You can visit me on Facebook. And now you can visit me on my website, www.senseilashes.com. I sell my lashes. I sell my body butters. And I also provide makeup services for anyone who might need a face beat. Okay? I got you. I got you covered. So please go ahead and check it out. All my information will be in the description box below. Thank you so much once again, and I will see you guys next week.